If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns are staring down a daunting challenge this Sunday when they welcome the Green Bay Packers to First Energy Stadium, and the task ahead just got a little more complicated. The Browns, still struggling to find their rhythm on offense after a 0-2 start, may have to do it without one of their most reliable and experienced linemen, Joel Bitonio. The veteran left guard missed Wednesday's practice due to a back injury, a development that immediately raises questions about the Browns' ability to protect quarterback Joe Flacco and establish any semblance of a running game against the Packers' defense featuring the newly acquired Micah Parsons. Bitonio's absence was notable not just because of his skill, but because it was one of only two players who failed to practice on Wednesday, the other being return specialist DeAndre Carter, sidelined due to concussion protocol. The timing couldn't be worse for Cleveland, as they are already searching for offensive consistency and stability after failing to score more than 20 points in either of their first two games this season. Joel Bitonio's presence on the offensive line has long been a cornerstone of the Browns' offensive identity. At 33, the 12-year veteran has seen it all in the NFL, navigating the highs and lows of Cleveland's often tumultuous campaigns. After the Browns' dismal 3-win season last year, Bitonio even contemplated stepping away from the league, questioning whether another season was physically viable. Yet, in a candid conversation with Big Play Sports Network before the season, he made it clear that his competitive fire had not dimmed. "I want to play meaningful games in December and January," he said, a statement that underscored his commitment to push through the grind of a full NFL campaign and contribute to a team hoping to finally translate talent into results. Bitonio's willingness to endure the physical toll of football at this stage in his career highlights not just his professionalism, but also his importance to a Browns squad that desperately needs leadership on the field as well as stability in the trenches. The stakes for Sunday's matchup couldn't be higher, and the absence of Bitonio would magnify the Browns' offensive struggles. Joe Flacco has mostly managed to remain upright despite the shaky line, but the hits have come and are expected to continue, especially with Micah Parsons prowling the edge. Parsons, the 26-year-old Penn State product recently acquired from the Dallas Cowboys, has already made waves in Green Bay's defensive rotation. In just 2 games, he has tallied 1.5 sacks and has quickly established himself as a disruptive force that opposing quarterbacks must account for on nearly every play. The idea of facing a dynamic pass rusher like Parsons without the presence of Bitonio, who has been a stalwart protector since being drafted in the second round in 2014, is a scenario that makes offensive coordinators across the league break out in a cold sweat. Beyond pass protection, the Browns' inability to run the football consistently has been a glaring problem through 2 games. While Flacco has had just enough time to execute some passing plays, the ground game has struggled to gain traction, something that could be exacerbated if Bitonio is unavailable. Rookie running back Quinton Judkins offered a glimmer of hope in Baltimore, rushing for 61 yards on 10 carries, showing flashes of the explosive potential that Cleveland hopes to lean on as the season progresses. However, even with Judkins' promising display, the Browns' running attack remains largely untested, and the offensive line will need to perform at a near-perfect level to create lanes against the Packers' front that now features Parsons' relentless pursuit. Fellow rookie Dylan Sampson had an even quieter debut, totaling just 6 yards on 4 carries, further underscoring that the running game is still a work in progress and reliant on veteran guidance up front. Bitonio's historical durability and experience cannot be overstated. Since being drafted, he has been an Iron Man for the Browns, starting nearly every game from 2016 onward. In 2023 alone, he missed just 2 contests, and last season he started all 17 games, proving himself to be both dependable and resilient. This kind of availability is invaluable for a team seeking consistency in the trenches, especially when every snap counts against an aggressive defensive scheme. The potential absence of a player of Bitonio's caliber puts additional pressure on younger, less experienced linemen who must now step into roles where experience and technique often make the difference between a sack and a completed play. The Browns' coaching staff will be carefully monitoring his status over the next 2 days, as his participation in Thursday's practice and Friday's walkthrough could determine whether Cleveland enters Sunday's game with one of its most critical pieces in place. The narrative surrounding Bitonio also serves as a microcosm for the Browns' current season. The team is in the early stages of recalibrating after a difficult start, seeking momentum in both the passing and rushing games while dealing with injuries and new personnel adjustments. Bitonio's personal journey, contemplating retirement, deciding to push through, and continuing to start at a high level, mirrors the larger story of a team attempting to redefine itself amidst adversity. His presence on the field is more than just physical. It's symbolic of perseverance, stability, and leadership at a moment when the Browns need both tangible performance and morale boosts. The upcoming matchup against the Packers, featuring a defense bolstered by Parsons' edge-rushing ability, represents both a test and an opportunity for the Browns to show that their off-season adjustments and roster decisions can withstand the rigors of the NFL's early weeks. As the week progresses, all eyes will be on Bitonio's status and how the coaching staff adjusts game planning accordingly. The implications of his availability ripple through the team's entire offensive scheme, from the protection of Flacco to the effectiveness of the running game, and even the confidence of younger players learning the ropes at the professional level. Should he return to practice on Thursday, there is a tangible hope that he can contribute on Sunday, providing the Browns with a sense of normalcy and the competitive edge they desperately need against a Packers team looking to capitalize on early season vulnerabilities. On the other hand, if he is sidelined, the Browns will be forced to rely on depth and adaptability, testing the resilience and preparation of a unit already under significant scrutiny. The narrative surrounding the Cleveland Browns this week encapsulates the tension, drama, and unpredictability of the NFL. Veteran leadership, rookie potential, emerging stars, and lingering injuries all collide to create a story that is compelling not just for fans of Cleveland, but for anyone who appreciates the strategic intricacies of professional football. Joel Bitonio's situation serves as a focal point for this drama, embodying the delicate balance between physical endurance, personal determination, and team necessity. As the Browns prepare to host the Packers and attempt to solve the riddles posed by a talented defense led by Micah Parsons, the storylines extend far beyond the X's and O's. They are about perseverance, the pursuit of meaningful victories, and the constant evolution of a team striving to overcome both internal and external challenges. In the days leading up to Sunday's kickoff, the football world will watch closely, knowing that the Browns' fortunes may very well hinge on the availability of one of their most dependable veterans and the ability of the team to rally around him to face one of their toughest tests yet. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The Browns world is buzzing today, and honestly, if you're a Cleveland fan, you might want to sit down before reading this because the latest rumor swirling around the NFL has the potential to shake up the entire AFC. Head coach Kevin Stefanski, known for his meticulous offensive schemes and a steady hand at quarterback management, has apparently been carrying a big smile around the facility, and insiders are saying it's all because of one player, Tyreek Hill. Yes, the Tyreek Hill, the speed demon from Kansas City who has been turning defenses inside out for years, suddenly linked with Cleveland? It's the kind of story that makes your jaw drop if you're a football fan, and the chatter is heating up across social media, sports podcasts, and even casual water cooler conversations. Stefanski himself has been quoted, albeit in what seems like a very carefully worded media interaction, as saying, "With Tyreek Hill, our offense changes today," and just that sentence alone has set off a chain reaction of speculation, excitement, and, naturally, skepticism among fans and analysts alike. Now, imagine the scene in the Browns facility. Stefanski walking around with that rare kind of grin coaches don't usually show publicly, because let's face it, NFL coaches are all about poker faces. But apparently, the mere possibility of having Hill on the roster is enough to lighten the normally stoic demeanor of a head coach who takes the game as seriously as anyone in the league. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Tyreek Hill isn't just another wide receiver. He's a game changer, a weapon that can stretch any defense and create chaos in a way very few players in the league can. And the Browns, with Baker Mayfield, or whoever ends up under center, suddenly having someone of Hill's caliber, are rumored to be plotting an offense that could resemble a modern-day juggernaut, mixing traditional power plays with explosive, downfield threats that defenses simply aren't prepared to handle. That combination alone has scouts whispering and rival coaches nervously rechecking their game plans. The rumor mill doesn't stop at just Stefanski's excitement. Sources inside the Browns organization, who may or may not be speaking on background, are hinting at late-night strategy sessions where offensive coordinators are mapping out how to fully exploit Hill's speed and field awareness. We're talking about an offense that could operate in multiple layers: short, quick passes that get Hill the ball in space, trick plays, motion-heavy formations, and, of course, the deep bombs that could turn a 40-yard gain into a touchdown before defenders even realize what's happening. The Browns have always been known for a disciplined, methodical attack under Stefanski, but whispers suggest that Hill's arrival could tilt the offense toward a more dynamic, unpredictable style, one that forces opponents to prepare for everything and nothing at the same time. Imagine the defensive coordinators in the AFC looking at game tape and seeing Hill on tape, knowing that in a matter of seconds, a screen pass could turn into a 70-yard sprint, or a perfectly timed slant route could catch the secondary flat-footed. It's enough to make any defensive coach sweat bullets, and that's exactly the kind of edge Cleveland seems to be chasing. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As of now, nothing is confirmed. Official statements from the Browns front office are tight-lipped, and Tyreek Hill's camp has yet to comment publicly. That said, the mere idea of Hill in brown and orange jerseys has fans going wild online, with social media timelines flooded with mock-ups, fan art, and speculative highlight reels imagining what Hill could do lining up opposite Amari Cooper or alongside Jarvis Landry. And here's the thing. When the NFL rumor mill starts churning like this, it rarely dies down quickly. The media chatter, combined with fan expectations, creates a feedback loop that almost forces teams to respond, one way or another, and the Browns seem to be leaning into it, at least from a narrative standpoint. Every interview Stefanski gives now carries that tiny hint of excitement, that subtle wink to the camera that says, "We're cooking up something big." And you can bet sports journalists are picking up on every word, trying to decode what might just be the biggest offensive shakeup in the team's recent history. Meanwhile, insiders close to the locker room are hinting at how the current roster is reacting. Veteran players, especially the offensive line and secondary skill positions, are reportedly buzzing with anticipation. If Hill really were to join, every practice becomes a chance to learn from someone who redefines speed in football terms, someone whose route running and game intelligence can elevate the entire squad. Imagine the impact on rookies or younger players. Suddenly, the standard for excellence isn't just catch passes or protect the quarterback, but matching the pace and creativity of someone who can change a game in the blink of an eye. Coaches reportedly see it as a ripple effect. Hill doesn't just add talent. He sets a new bar for the entire offensive unit, raising performance expectations across the board. The psychological boost alone could be worth millions, and that's the kind of secret weapon teams rarely discuss openly, but feel in every meeting, every snap, every training session. Of course, it's not just about the offense. Analysts are starting to speculate on how Hill's presence could alter the Browns' strategic posture in the AFC. Some suggest that having Hill means defenses can no longer stack the box or focus purely on the run game, because even a single coverage misstep could result in a long touchdown. This creates an opening for the running game to flourish, for play-action passes to become more lethal, and for the quarterback to operate with a confidence that can elevate the team to a completely different level. The chain reaction is what makes this rumor so tantalizing. One player could unlock multiple layers of potential, forcing rival coaches to rethink their approach, and perhaps even altering the balance of power within the division. For Browns fans starved of postseason success in recent years, it's the kind of hope that feels almost too good to be true. Yet whispers from those closest to Stefanski suggest that he genuinely believes this could be a turning point. And then there's the cultural angle, the fan base. Imagine the hype surrounding the first game Hill lines up in a Browns uniform. Stadiums packed with expectant fans, national broadcasts hyping every touch, every sprint, every touchdown. Merchandise flying off shelves. Social media breaking with highlight reels of Hill accelerating past defenders, with commentators scrambling to keep up with his speed. For Cleveland, which has endured seasons of frustration and heartbreak. The idea of adding a game-changing wideout is not just an offensive boost. It's a morale boost, a marketing dream, and, in rumor terms, a story that sells itself over and over. Every segment on local sports radio, every YouTube analysis, every TikTok highlight clip would be dominated by Hill's potential impact. Even casual fans who normally don't follow the Browns closely would find themselves pulled into the narrative, simply because the combination of talent and intrigue is irresistible. What's fascinating about this whole scenario is the timing. Mid-season trades, free agent signings, and draft picks are always subjects of intense speculation, but Stefanski's comments about Hill suggest an urgency, a sense that the Browns are not just preparing for next season. They are aiming to rewire the team's offensive DNA immediately. And in the NFL, that kind of ambition, while exciting, is also risky. There are cap implications, team chemistry considerations, and the logistical reality of integrating a star player into an already complex scheme. Yet Stefanski, known for balancing risk and reward meticulously, seems to be signaling that the upside is worth it, that Hill isn't just a flashy addition, but a calculated move designed to give the Browns an edge they've been chasing for years. The rumor alone is enough to dominate headlines, and if it proves true, it would likely be remembered as one of the boldest offensive decisions in recent Cleveland sports history. At the end of the day, the excitement surrounding Kevin Stefanski and Tyreek Hill is more than just speculation. It's the kind of buzz that defines NFL fandom. It's the talk in bars, on social media, in offices, and among families who gather to watch the Browns every Sunday. Whether or not Hill actually suits up in brown and orange, the narrative itself has already begun to reshape expectations. Stefanski's rare public enthusiasm, the whispers of strategic innovation, the potential for a high-octane offense, and the sheer spectacle of watching one of the league's fastest, most dynamic receivers potentially join the team, all of it combines into a story that's impossible to ignore. For now, it remains a rumor, a tantalizing possibility, a what-if scenario that keeps fans guessing, analysts theorizing, and rival teams nervously revising their defensive playbooks. But if there's one thing Cleveland knows, it's that when the Browns start talking about change, when the whispers turn into headlines, the city listens, the fans react, and the NFL braces itself for the next big move. Kevin Stefanski's grin, the hint of Tyreek Hill on the horizon, and the tantalizing promise of a new offensive era. It's a narrative that's only just beginning, and one that Browns fans will be following obsessively, hoping that this time, the buzz becomes reality. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!